Okay, everybody. I am back with LinkedIn 201 as promised. I've got a few notes that I'm going to share with you guys and gals, men and women who are part of this group. The question that came up several times in the course of my conversations this last week was, okay, I don't want to raise attention that, I might be looking, and if I really build out my LinkedIn profile and I haven't done that before, is that going to raise attention? And it's a fair question. We're trying to be discreet. We're trying to be wise, some of us here. And so let's talk about some ways you can do that effectively in a way that will give you options without having your phone start buzzing with people going, yeah, what's going on with your, we don't have to worry about that. First of all, I think that is kind of a bit of an overblown fear. Nevertheless, I want to address it for those of you who feel like that's a real concern. And for those of you who it's not, these are some good things you can do to build your LinkedIn profile so that you can build your network and create options for yourself. So give me a second while I share my screen, and then we are going to take a look at our LinkedIn. Hold on just a sec. All right, so let's share the screen. When it comes to LinkedIn, there's three things that I want to give you today that I think will be helpful for you in putting all this together. So here's my LinkedIn page. And if you don't remember from the last time, this is our main feed right here. You can see, we can click over here and see our profile, which we will in just a moment. You've also got your search function up here. So these are some of the things you can do right about your 101 to get done first. That video is here on our Nomads page, and you can check it out. And that noise you're hearing is my two dogs, and they may make an entrance, who knows. All right, let's go first to groups. One of the ways in which you'll hear our senior VP in talent management, who will hopefully be able to record something with me here in the next few days, she's going to say that strategic networking is one of the most important things you can do. Now, of course, that's true of your own community, getting to know people through, say, your Chamber of Commerce, through local networking groups, or just getting out and meeting people, of course. That is an important part of it. But here digitally on LinkedIn, let me show you a couple of ways you can do that. I'm a part of a group called Ex-Pastor. We're going to use Ex-Pastor. Ex-Pastor is basically a very technical group that has a lot of very practical ways for executive pastors to make wise decisions and all the kind of things you might imagine that an executive pastor would be looking for with strategic planning and et cetera, et cetera. So I am a part of this group, and I joined this group through a basic search of the LinkedIn search function here. I found this one. I've been fairly active in it, including submitting a couple of articles. Excuse me. And so you can kind of see here that this is one of the groups that I would be curious about. So step number one is in that search function up here on the home page. I want you to take some time and look for groups that could be of interest to you. Look for groups that match the field you're curious about. So if you're interested in chaplaincies, go up here and search for chaplain. You'll be able to see corporate chaplains of America, market chaplains. These are all companies that you can follow and groups that you can join. You'll see several different options there, but search for what matters to you. Search for what you're looking for. If you really want to become a real estate agent and you want to find folks to connect with, that's a great place to go looking for the kind of groups that you can join and where you can, and I'll show you in just a moment, do some further work to connect with people. Now, you'll see that this is a huge group right up here in this top right corner. There are 12,000 members, and I can click see all right there. And literally, there are 12,000 people that I could message and connect with if I wanted to. Some of them would obviously be very, very good connections for 1128 to make, or myself to make personally. But this is the first thing you can do to network quietly. If you're in the middle of, for example, a chaplaincy group, and you want to learn more about how well you can make the transition from your role in ministry currently over into chaplaincy, you can join a chaplaincy group and search for members and look to see who are some folks who may be doing dual roles of ministry and chaplaincy. Or you may be able to look in terms of like who is doing training for chaplaincy in your case. So there's someone who does speaking and training here for executive directors. So you can take a look at that and you can actually begin to look for folks. And it's real simple. We're just going to message someone. And I can literally message Bill Clemenson and say, hi, my name is Trey Finley. I provide sabbatical consulting for churches who are looking to better incorporate sabbatical practices into their employee policy. So I can send them that message and say, if you know of someone who would like to do this, or if this fits your description as pastor of discipleship in groups, let's talk more. And it's as easy as that. Go to a group, find someone that you want to connect with, and click message. That's it. It's very, very simple, very, very easy. It's a very discreet way for you to do that. Okay, that's the first one. Get into groups, get connected with folks who are there, get to know them, tell them who you are via a message. Most people on LinkedIn will give you the benefit of the doubt in connecting with them. Don't spam them. Don't send them a ton of emails. Please don't try to sell them anything. If a network marketing, multi-level marketing company is how you're making some money in the meantime, good for you. That is a perfectly great way to do that. We have done that in our family. Please don't try to sell that on LinkedIn, pretty please. I'm just going to save you a lot of trouble there in doing that. All right, so that's the first thing. Get into groups and be strategic about that. I'm going to go over here to a friend of mine. His name is Tim Nations. And I'm going to show you a couple of things. Tim Nations and I go way back. We've done a lot of work together, both in ministry as well as in consulting and parachurch stuff since ministry. We are currently working together to try to find better ways to help pastors transition from one role to another by taking care of them in the meantime between those two positions. You'll see that he is a coach at Chemistry Staffing, and that is their role, to help ministers find their next church and churches find their next minister. And so here is a great way for you to build your profile in a discreet way. I want to scroll down here to recommendations. You can do this in a number of different ways. Here's the first thing you can do that I recommend. Ask for a recommendation, okay? So if you have someone in your church who has provided professional services to your church, legal, accounting, insurance, whatever the case may be, ask them for a recommendation as a character reference. I have worked with John Smith, providing insurance to his church. I have worked with him in being able to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I highly recommend him. His character is outstanding, and he was excellent to work with throughout the process. That's easy, simple. When you do ask for a recommendation, it will ask you, it'll click here, how do you know Tim in this case? So I can select a relationship. In this case, we're working together at different companies, and I'm the executive director. I can click next, and I can customize this. This is very important. So click on the ask for a recommendation, fill in the couple of blanks, and then, hi Tim, could you write me a recommendation for your work with me in my church, helping us find our next pastor? What was it like to work with me in that process? Now you've got a character reference that you can have on your page, so that if you begin to look, when you begin to look, people will be able to look at your page and see that you are more than just a pastor of people, which you are. You're also familiar with the ins and outs of business and the technical stuff, the operations type work required to be a minister in so many churches. All right, second thing you can do is you can give recommendations to a church member. So again, let's say you have had your property appraised through a real estate agent at your church. And Jennifer Smith has done this work for you, and you want to recommend her. Great, click recommend, tell them that. And then once you've sent it, it will ask you if you would like a recommendation back from them. And now you've built that up. If you've had a good experience with someone, this is a very, very easy thing to do. Tim has only given a few, and that's fine, but you can give many, 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 and then you can choose the ones you want to display. So if 3 or 4 people give you fantastic recommendations, choose those as the one you want to list, because you can choose the one that you want to show. So one other thing about giving recommendations to other people, you can recommend them and thank them for their time volunteering for your church. If someone is active on LinkedIn, that is a really helpful thing for them to have, because you can see that there are interests here. You can see in some cases they've got volunteer space. Tim does not have that on his, but you can see where they volunteer. And so those are the kinds of things that are helpful for them to have that sort of volunteer reference for them. All right, so that's the second thing. First is strategic networking in groups. The second is recommendations, going both ways. The third thing is I would recommend that you follow business pages in fields where you'd have an interest working. So let's go back to that. Let's say that after doing some work with 1128 from now until the time I'm 65, and I've loved it. Let's say that I want to go into helping churches find their next minister. And so I say, hey, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna find out more about chemistry staffing, because they've got a really interesting thing I want to follow. So you can see I'm following them. And these are the kinds of connections I can make. I can find out who is connected with them. I can click on people and where they live and people you may know who are part of this group. All of them I can connect with if I feel like they are people who would be helpful for me to know. But also take a look over here on the right. Hey, look, there are other groups that would be really interesting for me to follow. It's like church staffing. Slingshot group is a staffing and recruiting group. So you can join more of those follow more of those businesses and join more of those groups. The reason you want to do that, the end result, is obviously self-education and being able to connect with people. You'll also see some of those things, just like in Facebook. If you're friends with somebody, you'll see all of this pop up here on your feed. So you'll be able to kind of have that handy to see what those organizations are doing in their particular area, their particular field. All right, so those are the 3 things I've got. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. Number 1, strategic networking, meet new people in a way that's discreet. Number 2, both recommend people who are in your church as well as ask them for recommendations for your work. Also, if you've got people in the community who know your work, absolutely ask them for that support as well. Be it organizations you volunteer with or just friends that you have in the community who know you and can recommend you as a person. And then the third thing is follow business pages in fields that you're interested in. So again, if you're interested in chaplaincy, go follow a whole bunch of chaplaincy businesses, real estate, HR, whatever that may be. Go follow those, and you can find all of them up here in that search. Okay, so that's it for today. If I think of a 301 and some tips that will be helpful for here, I will add those as well. I'll come back on, but in the meantime, I'm hopeful that my next video here that you guys can use as you figure out what's next for you will be with my friend who is a senior VP of talent management. And she's going to tell us a whole lot more about the kind of ways we can really prepare ourselves and be well educated and be the best candidate that we can be, and also be aware of the many ways in which we already are good candidates. We just need a way to share that story. All right, I'm going to hit stop share here. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below or drop me a direct message or an email. I'm grateful for you guys and all of you who are in this group. For those of you who are going through very difficult times, I'm prayerful and mindful. For those of you who are in the process of trying to figure out where you land, I'm also just wanting to let you know that you are not alone, and that whatever comes next, good things can and will come.